guys, and welcome to the Laundry Chat podcast, a place where we help each other sort out life's laundry. I'm your host, Molly Marko, and you are listening to episode 2. So for this episode, I decided to do a Q&A. I have several people that I'm really excited to interview in future episodes, but I thought it'd be kind of nice for you guys to get to know me and be able to ask questions if you had any, because who is this person just talking to you and that has a podcast? I don't know. So yeah, I put it on my social medias a couple days ago to send me your questions, and you guys definitely did. I have about 17 that I'm going to be answering, and yeah, I hope that you can just get something from it, and maybe think about these questions for yourself and answer them for yourself, because some of these are really good questions, and I'm actually really glad that I was able to answer them because I learned a little bit about myself too. So make yourself comfortable. If you're driving and you see a Starbucks, I fully support you pulling over and buying yourself a cup because I'm not really sure where this conversation will go, but I'm really excited to find out. Okay, so question number 1. And sorry if you hear like pages flipping, it's just I have my questions written in a notebook. But okay, question number 1 says, are you in school? And yes, I am in school. I am in college, but I am a senior and I'm graduating this December. So I'm almost done. And it's really, really scary. Like, not so much scary. It's just kind of like, yeah, well, I guess it's kind of scary. So I am in school, graduating very soon in a matter of months. And I'm, kind of terrified. Okay, question number 2 goes along with that. And it says, what's your major and career pathway? When I first came to college as a freshman, I was in the elementary education major. And I quickly found out after that first year that is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. I just felt empty. And somehow I got put into the marketing communications major. And that's where I've been ever since. It's honestly the perfect fit for me. I get to do everything that I love and that I'm interested in. So I get to, figure out how brands brand themselves. I get to work with social media. I get to make radio commercials and do speeches and learn how people think and the reasons that they buy things and all of that stuff. So super cool. I love it. And someone also, I guess, what question would this be then? 3? Someone also said dream job with 100, not 100, but 5 exclamation points. So my dream job, I really don't know. And I hate not knowing that because I can't even tell you how many people have asked me, what's your dream job? What do you want to do after you graduate? If you could do anything, what would you do? And I really can't answer them anymore. When you're a teacher, it's easier to know because it's I want to teach this grade at this school in this state. But with marketing communications, I don't know. I really don't know what I want to do with my life. And I think that's why it's so scary to be graduating in December, because it's so close that I have to figure it out. But yeah, so sorry for not really giving you a good answer on that. I really don't know what my dream job or career pathway will be, but I'm slowly figuring out what I don't want to do. For example, working in the corporate world and at an agency, I used to think that would be so fun and that I would love that, but it sounds so boring. All of this vocabulary around the higher-ups and the corporation and the executives, and we need to do meetings, and oh my gosh, it just sounds horrible. And I mean, maybe I would like it, but right now it just bores me to death. And it's hard because my professors and I know my mom and my dad want me to start applying for real jobs, but I don't know where the real jobs are or what real job I want to do. But anyways, let's move on to a different question. I need a break from thinking about my future for now. Okay, question 4. They asked, how do you stay motivated to do your homework? Which is a great question. I wish that I could get someone else's answer on this. But for me, I guess the main thing that keeps me motivated to do my homework, because most of the time I don't want to do it, but the main thing that keeps me motivated is if I get my homework done, then I can get to do the really good stuff and the stuff that I really want to do. So I just kind of push through and know that at the end, I'll be able to do something that I really, really love. So question 5 is kind of similar to the last question I just answered, except it's kind of about motivation in general. And I actually got 2 questions about this, but this one says, how do you get out of ruts where you have no motivation to do anything, if you experience that? Okay, for one, definitely experience that a lot. It's like one of the worst things, I think. It's not fun at all to feel that way. So I definitely feel for you. But just know that you will get out of it eventually. Like, you're not going to be in this rut forever, and eventually you will go out there and create amazing things and do amazing things. It's just right now, your mind probably needs a little bit of a break. But also know too that motivation, you're not going to feel it all the time. So sometimes it is also okay to do things when you don't feel like it, because yeah, most of the time we won't feel like doing it. And most of the times I don't feel like doing certain things. I normally just like keep making things, or if it feels like I need to take a step back and just have a break, I'll, go on a coffee date with a friend. I'll go back home and just like, take a day. Or sometimes, actually a lot of the times, I go to thrift stores and I just shop around and use that as therapy and just kind of like find why God is having me do what I'm doing. And normally that helps. And I think there's something good about talking about it too. You're not the only one who feels this way. And, you're probably just overthinking it most of the time. At least that's for me. Normally I'm just overthinking it, and talking it out normally helps me realize that. Question number 6 says, fave food. There's a lot of foods that I like. But I think in general, breakfast food, that's my favorite. Like pancakes, anything with maple syrup, like eggs and toast, and of course coffee. So if you brought me to breakfast or gave me breakfast in bed or something, I would be very happy. But I also love popcorn too. That's probably like my favorite snack, with a whole bunch of butter. Moving on, question 7 says, why is your sister so cool? And Morgan, I know you wrote that because you signed Morgan at the end of it. But you are actually really cool, Morgan. You're a lot cooler than me, I think. Actually, you've always been cooler than me. And I don't know why that is. Like, we should probably talk to mom and dad about that, because something obviously went wrong, because I thought the oldest child was supposed to be the coolest one. Question number 8 just says bucket list. And I'll give you 2 things that are on my bucket list. The first is to write a book. I have always wanted to write a book for the longest time. And I've been thinking about it a lot more lately. And not because I know what I'd write about, but because it's just something that I really want to do. So yeah, I would love to write a book sometime. And the second thing is to go to New York City. I love the city. I think it partly has something to do with just being from a small town in the Midwest and not really seeing much of a big city or traveling very much. But I feel like New York City is like the definition of city life and of just like the American dream. And I would love to visit there and just find out if it's something that I'd actually like. Question number 9 is a really great question, and it has 2 parts to it. The first one says, what are you most insecure about? And I knew this answer right away when I read it, except I wanted to try and think of a different answer that was better than the first answer I had come up with. But I am most insecure about my body, for sure, or I guess just my appearance in general. It's just always been a struggle of mine ever since I was in middle school, and I still struggle with it. Most of you know that I had an eating disorder a couple summers ago. That was kind of like the climax and like when it got the worst. But yeah, I definitely still struggle with it. I mean, almost every morning. It's just, I wish it wasn't the thing I was most insecure about, but it still is. Yeah, that's just something that I'm constantly working on and trying to, retrain my brain to think differently about the way I look. So in front of my mirror, or on the top of my mirror, I wrote, not a mirror, and above it, because I don't want the reflection that I see in the mirror to carry so much weight whenever I look into it, because I want to be looking through the mirror that Jesus has set up for me and what he sees when he looks at me. So anyways, that's what I'm most insecure about. But the next part of the question says, what do you like the most about your character? Last summer, I was asked the same question by one of my greatest friends, and her name is Summer. She said, what do you like most about yourself? Or actually, no, she said, what do you like least about yourself? And I had said that I'm so introverted. And she looked at me really surprised and said, "But Molly, that's the part that is most endearing about you and that I love most about you." And from then on, I had totally changed my perspective on me being introverted and a little bit more shy and reserved. So now I will confidently say that that's like one of my favorite parts about my character, because it allows me to listen to other people. Not perfectly, I'm not the best listener, but it gives people a chance to, speak, and I love listening to them, and then I get to learn from them. I love just observing and thinking about things. I don't know, I really like that about myself, that I can do that. So yes, definitely that I am an introvert. Introverts unite. Question 10 is actually really funny. It says, "How can I be your friend? What does friendship mean to you?" And whoever wrote this, I would love to be your friend. Yes, you can be friends with me. I don't know who you are because this was sent anonymously, but if you did it, like, if this is your question, please message me and we can be friends. But yeah, I guess if you did actually want to be my friend, the most important thing you can do is talk to me. Like I said in the last question, I'm normally more of like a listener, like at first at least. So I love it when people like talk to me and like, share things with me, and it just like helps me, I guess, just build trust with you. So yeah, I love just like messaging and texting and, hanging out, going on coffee dates, just getting to know you. That's like, I guess, how you can most quickly become my friend is just over coffee. If you just tell me, those like basically questions like this. I love, once I know your soul, like, then you're my friend. But friendship, yeah, I guess the definition, or like what friendship means to me, is in general, at least during college, what I've learned is being there. I think like especially in college, we have to decide like who we spend time with and who we are there for. And so I've just been a lot more picky about like who I give my time to and who I'm there for, whether that be just sending a text or calling or, giving a gift to or buying coffee for or like just hanging out with. Like, so I think friendship is being there through obviously the good times, the bad times, and for the in-between times, being there and just being together. Question 11 is actually from one of my Insta friends, Kate Ashbrook. You should definitely follow her. She is one of the sweetest people I know, and I don't even know her. Like, I've never met her in real life, but I was so excited when she messaged me this question. She said, "If you could have coffee with one person, who would it be and why?" And obviously, I would love to have coffee with you, Kate. I wish that we could meet, and we will meet someday. If not in real life, we'll meet in heaven. But if I had to pick someone else, I think I would have to say Donald Miller. He is an author, and also he started his own business called StoryBrand, which is like a branding company. But yeah, he also has a podcast too. It's called Building a Story Brand, if you guys want to check that out. But when I read Scary Close, which was the first book I ever read by him, I immediately felt understood. Like, I feel like me and him are so much alike, and I was able to connect with him just with what he was saying. And I had never heard anyone actually like write it out or like describe it the way that I had been feeling, because he's also an introvert, but he also felt like he had to perform and he kept wearing this mask and that he could never really be himself. So yeah, I've been following him ever since like I read that book. And I would just love to have coffee with him and talk about, the struggles and also what he's learned. He's so insightful. And he also loves Jesus, which is really cool. Yeah, I would love to have coffee with Donna Miller. Of course, after I have coffee with Kate. Question 12 says, biggest passion. And the only reason that I could answer this one so quickly was because I had saw a question on Pinterest that said, what ignites your spirit? And for some reason, I wrote it down and I said, to create beautiful things. I guess I just realized that no matter what I do, whether it's like writing a blog post, making a podcast, making videos, a vlog, taking pictures, I just love to finish something and see that it's beautiful. I think it's also cool that, God kind of did the same thing with us, that he made all of this and he said it was beautiful. So yeah, if I could do that for the rest of my life, just putting stuff out there and making things that are beautiful in whatever the word beautiful means, I would be happy. And question 13 kind of goes along with that. They ask, what's the reasoning behind your videos or the driving force? And I mean, a lot of it does have to do with that just like need to create something. But if other than that, I actually have like a lot of times when I make videos, I just get this weird feeling. It kind of feels like a magnet or something that like I feel like I have to like do it. Like, and not all the time. Like right now, I obviously don't feel like I need to make a video, but sometimes like I just feel this like I need to make a video, and then all of a sudden I just make it, and like the next day I have a video, and I'm like, what the heck was I doing? So yeah, a lot of it is because I love it so much, and I just visually I like to see things out of my mind. Like I like that because so much is in my mind that to get it out feels so good. And then the other part is just, honestly, I thank the Lord because I don't know why I do half the stuff I do or where half of it comes from, but I just kind of listen to him and, make a video. Another thing too is that I feel like there's just like not a lot of YouTubers or videos out there for like Christian people. Or I mean, you don't have to be a Christian, I guess, to watch my videos, but I just feel like there's a gap that kind of needs to be filled, and I feel like, I can fill it sometimes. Are we on question 14? I think it's 14. Oh well, okay. Question 14 maybe says, do you ever get bogged down with what others think of you and what they'll think of your creative posts on social media? If so, how do you get past that part and just post what you want anyways? Okay, love this question, whoever, asked me this, because I feel like this is my life. Yeah, I think way too much about what people think of me. I actually kind of just wrote a blog post about this because I recently turned off my Instagram notifications, which I don't know why I didn't do it sooner, because I just care way too much about if people like me. But I have, through this process of like being on social media and posting things and making stuff, I post it anyways, I've found, because no one really cares. And then for two, but people will care. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like that magnet thing I was talking about, that like force that nudge that I feel like the Holy Spirit is like pushing me to make something. I feel like it's not about me anyways. At least most of the stuff I'm posting, like if it's about God and about other people too, like, then why would I not want to post it? Or why would I care what other people think? So I just I've been trying to make it not so much about me and more about God and more about like serving other people, which is kind of hard to be honest. But even if it is about you, like, you matter too, and you have people who care about you. So yeah, it's just really dumb. I think we just, again, overthink it. God put something in you that if you want to post it, and like, what better place to post it than social media on the internet, where like people from like across the country can look at it. So I think that if you're feeling, kind of like this chain link fence, like to post something, just like knock it down. Like, that's totally Satan, I'm assuming, because what a better place than the internet to post, something about your life or your story or your achievements or something about that God did. So yeah, break that fence, girl or guy. Question 15 says, what's your inspiration? Which is a question that could kind of go like a lot of different directions, but the way I'm going to take it is day to day, what inspires me. Ooh, now maybe I might change my answer if I word it like that. But I guess that's true. Day to day, like, I'm always maybe not inspired, but like my feelings inspire a lot of the things that I do. And I guess it would be a mix of like what I'm feeling and God's truth. And sometimes they match up, and that is really great. And that makes, a really happy, kind of like post or content. But when they don't match up, when what I'm feeling kind of contradicts what God's truth is, that's when I, am in like problem solving mode, and where I'm really trying to, figure things out. And that's where a lot of my stuff comes from, at least most of my words, because I'm just kind of trying to figure my life out, because my feelings are all over the place, and I want them to kind of be more aligned with God's truth. But some other things that inspire me are just like the little things in life, honestly. Like, I love, little coffee mugs. I have like a collection of those. I love plants ever since I work in landscaping. I love flowers and plants and the seasons. I just love, the change in the seasons, and, just stuff that people do. Like, you guys honestly inspire me. Like, just the way that people do things and the way that they think about things, the patterns that they do. I love, seeing the way different pictures on Instagram and on Facebook, and just like, honestly, like, this whole world is just like really inspiring, and I think it's just also like really inspiring to try and find the beauty in your everyday things, but also kind of a challenge, especially when you have homework. Okay, you guys, we're down to the last 2 questions. This is actually crazy. Okay, it's not that crazy. That's kind of an overstatement, but I am very excited about this because I never thought I would get around to like recording this, but here I am. So, okay, question number 16. So this question I kind of combined because 2 people asked this. They said, what are a few things you'd like to do / happen to you in the next, one person said 7 years and another person said 10 years. So we're going to tackle both. So it's weird to think about, but in 7 years, I'm going to be 28. And that seems kind of old. Actually, I'll almost be 29 because my birthday is in November. So by the nice age of 28 and a half, I would like to, this sounds so like cliche, but I really would love to have found my husband by then. I mean, that would be kind of nice. And maybe have like a kid or 2. But maybe even more important than that, I think I would like to have by then at least known or be in the middle of like God's plan for me, which maybe also sounds dumb because I feel like you're never really out of God's plan for you, but I would love to have that like piece of like knowing that this is what God wants me to do, and that and what I would be best at. So yeah, by 28, I would definitely love to be doing that dream job that I have no idea what it is yet, but I would hope by then that I would be in it, and I would be using God's gift that He gave me to do it. So then in 10 years, I would be 31, and I guess I would really like to, I don't know, by 31 I would like to have written a book. If I'm going to like fulfill this bucket list, I think I'd want to have my book written by 31. And I hope that I have a church by then that I really would be invested in. I guess I would just still want that. I still would want to be a child at 31. And I still would want to be young at 31 in my spirit. Like, I hope that I don't get old and that everything is new still. That I still find like excitement in those small things still when I'm 31, and that my faith stays like a child's. I don't know. This is a tough question, especially since so much can happen in like a week. So to plan out the next like 7 and 10 years, like this is too much. But yeah, what would you do in like, or what would you hope happens in 7 to 10 years? It's kind of a good thing to think about, but not for too long. Okay, so the last question says, where or in what ways have you felt God's presence most strongly in your life? I would have to say when I'm alone. I feel God most when I'm alone. And every time that I can remember that I felt Him most strongly, I have been by myself. When I was at Melrose, I was all by myself. That was when I had my eating disorder and I was in the hospital. When I flew to St. Lucia by myself and was in the country for 2 weeks, I felt Him most strongly. When my boyfriend had broken up with me when I went to college, I was alone, but I felt God's love more strongly than I ever had. And even like this summer, I was alone a lot. And it was hard for me because I think I didn't welcome God into that aloneness. And so I did feel really lonely. So yeah, all the times it's when I'm alone that I feel God the most. And I think that's also when I, make things. I make videos by myself. And this podcast, I'm sitting here in my room by myself. But it's those whispers that, like I said, that magnet force, that Holy Spirit, is when I'm alone and it's quiet. I can feel that. And that's when I do these things. So yeah, I feel him most when I'm by myself. But I also feel him in other people too. But yeah, definitely the most strongest has been when it's just me and him. All right, you guys, that is the end of the Q&A. Wow. Thank you so much for asking questions. When I posted it, I wasn't really sure if anyone would ask me anything, because who would want to know these things about kind of a stranger, basically? But you guys came up with some really great questions. And like I said, answer some of these for yourself. Kind of think about, what you would say for these questions. And I'd love to know. Message me if you, feel like you want a message, or if we want to be friends. I would love to talk with you and become friends with you. Yeah, I better go. The next podcast you hear will hopefully be an interview with someone special. You'll hear more in the coming days or weeks about who it will be and anything like that. So I better get going. I actually have to go to class in like 15 minutes. But I will see you guys in the next episode of the Laundry Chat podcast. Remember that you are never alone in your mess of laundry called life, and that will help you fold it together. Bye, you guys.